You are the one mistake this family didn't manage to erase, and my mother said, we kept you around for appearances, not out of love. Don't fool yourself, you were never wanted, only tolerated." She spoke with no anger, no hesitation, just cold certainty, like she had erased me long before I realized it. If you've ever stood in the middle of your own family and felt like a stranger, if you've been missing from photos, memories, and conversations, stay with me. This isn't just a story about being cast aside. It's about rising again and reclaiming what should have been yours all along. The valet smiled as he handed me the ticket, his eyes drifting over the sedan I had polished earlier that morning. It gleamed in the fading light, but beside the rows of luxury cars parked along the manicured cul-de-sac, it still looked modest. I thanked him softly and walked toward the Sullivan estate. White lights wound around the tall oaks. A jazz trio played near the patio, and the air smelled faintly of cedar salmon and lemon oil. Everything looked perfect, curated. I adjusted my navy dress, the one I had worn to 2 interviews and a funeral, and steadied my breath before approaching the entrance. A young man in a tailored vest stood at a check-in podium, tapping on a glowing tablet. "Name?" he asked. "Brooke Sullivan," I said. He paused, frowned, and scrolled. "You're listed under guest of the Reynolds family." My smile stayed steady even as something in my chest shifted. "That's my family," I said. He turned the screen toward me. The list was meticulous. Derek Sullivan, Margaret Sullivan, Greg Sullivan, Alyssa Sullivan, and below them, in smaller font, guest of family. "No name. I'm the sister," I said quietly. He blinked. "Would you like me to write your name on a tag?" "No need," I replied and pinned the generic guest badge to my chest. Inside, the house looked like a glossy magazine spread. Candles floated in glass bowls, and servers carried trays of appetizers. I walked through, smiling politely at faces that didn't recognize me. My table was number 18, tucked near the kitchen and partly hidden by a column. The napkin was folded into a swan, though its neck had drooped. I fixed it carefully and rested my fingers there. Across the room, Margaret stood glowing, leading a group of donors through the story of Derek's career. Greg nodded behind her like a man rehearsing pride. Derek, polished and effortless, laughed with a hand on someone's back. Alyssa, his wife, stood near him with her perfect smile. No one looked at me. The chair beside me stayed empty. A server leaned close. "Is this seat taken?" "No," I said. "It's all yours." Moments later, the lights dimmed and applause filled the room. A smooth voice announced the highlight of the evening. A tribute video for Derek Sullivan. The screen came alive. Derek in Little League, Derek winning science fairs, Derek at his company's ribbon cutting. My parents' voices played over it. Margaret called him our pride. Greg said he was born to lead. They used the word we, but never my name. No mention of the weekend I slept on Derek's showroom floor so the carpet crew wouldn't quit. No mention of the $10,000 I wired him when his company almost went under. I was erased completely. The video ended, people clapped, then Margaret took the microphone, her voice bright. "And now, a few words from someone very special, Derek's thoughtful little sister." My pulse hardened. I walked toward the stage, passing curious faces. Margaret smiled as she handed me the mic. There was no card, no notes. "It's a beautiful night," I said. "Derek, you've always had a gift for making a room light up." The words felt thin, but I held my composure. Margaret laughed lightly and turned to the crowd. "Oh, tell them, sweetheart. Wouldn't it be the perfect gift if you gave them the condo keys tonight?" The room froze. Someone coughed. Another woman sipped her wine too fast. I blinked, thinking I'd misheard. "What?" I whispered. Margaret's smile didn't fade. "The place in Austin. Derek and Alyssa are newlyweds. It just makes sense." Greg added loudly, "Come on, Brooke. You're hardly using the guest room." My mouth went dry. I looked at Derek. He stared down at his plate. Alyssa's lips tightened, but she stayed silent. Then it happened. Greg grabbed the champagne bottle. The hit came fast, sharp, and absolute, the base of the bottle striking my temple. I didn't fall right away. The room tilted. Then I was on my knees, blood sliding down my cheek. No one moved. Margaret's face twisted, not in concern but contempt. "You ungrateful brat," she hissed. "We gave you everything." Derek didn't look up. Alyssa's hand hovered on his sleeve. The rest of the guests just watched. Someone whispered, "She's being dramatic." Another voice said, "No, he hit her. I got it on video." Yet no one came forward. I stood slowly, steadying myself on a table. My dress was streaked with red. My badge hung loose against my chest. I didn't speak or cry. I walked out. No one called my name. Outside, I ordered an Uber. The driver looked worried when he saw the blood. "Hospital?" he asked. "Yes, I said quietly. Under harsh fluorescent lights, the nurse cleaned my wound. "Anyone to stay with you?" she asked. I shook my head. "Emergency contact." She passed me the clipboard. I left it blank. She nodded gently, like she understood. Later that night, I got a call from Jade, my closest friend. "You okay?" "I'm at the hospital." "I'm coming, you're staying with me," she said firmly. At her place, I couldn't sleep. The next morning, I tried to eat something, then reached into my purse for my condo key. It was gone. I froze, remembering Greg handing me my bag last week after dinner. My phone buzzed. "Hi, this is Jeanette from HomeQuest Realty. Just confirming the 2 p.m. walkthrough at your condo today." "What?" I said. "Oh, Mr. Gregory Sullivan is co-signer on the listing. He authorized the showing." My blood ran cold. "Cancel it." They weren't just erasing me emotionally, they were erasing me legally. I emailed my lawyer, Ethan McCall. "Urgent, they're trying to sell my property." He replied within 20 minutes, "Come in today, bring documents." By noon, I was in his office, handing him an old file folder. It held the 2010 warranty deed, proof of payment, and emails from Margaret, thanking me for saving their home. Ethan scanned the papers carefully. "This house is legally yours," he said. I nodded slowly, letting it sink in. "They entered your condo without consent and listed it for sale. That's criminal," he added. "What now?" I asked. "Now we file a notice to vacate the Sullivan property." The papers were clean and direct. Occupants must vacate within 72 hours. I signed. As I left, an email arrived from Margaret. "Brooke, we love you. This has gone too far. Come by the house. Let's fix this." Back home, Jade had already made tea. "This is what safety feels like," she said quietly. For the first time in days, I felt still. The next morning, a sheriff's deputy arrived at the Sullivan house. Greg answered in a robe, Margaret behind him with her coffee. The officer handed over the envelope. "Eviction notice." Greg tore it open, shouting, but the officer stayed calm. Margaret's cup slipped from her hand and shattered. Derek filmed everything. Later, he uploaded it to the family chat. His caption was short, "She actually did it." I didn't read the replies. Hours later, I got a message from Alyssa. "They erased you before. I found the albums." Attached was a photo. Derek's childhood birthday. I should have been beside him, but my figure had been cut out entirely. Later that night, I created a Dropbox folder. Inside, I placed everything: wire transfers, deeds, emails, voicemails. Proof of every sacrifice I had made. I titled the folder "Truth for Anyone Who Still Wants It" and shared the link publicly. Within hours it spread, comments poured in. They erased her, she funded him, she was written out of her own family. I didn't watch it go viral. I didn't need to. The truth didn't need me to supervise it. Days later, the realtor confirmed. The Sullivan property had sold. They had 48 hours to leave. I visited the empty house one last time. Sunlight filled the rooms where laughter used to echo. The walls showed faint outlines where family portraits had hung. In a small closet under the stairs, I found a box. Inside was an old photo of me missing tooth, holding a science trophy, and a linen napkin folded into a swan. The same one from Derek's birthday dinner. Someone had kept it. Maybe by accident, maybe out of guilt. It didn't matter. It had survived. So had I. Back at my condo, Jade arrived with wine and plants. We made pasta, simple and warm. I placed the napkin in the center of the table. Still folded, still here. Later, I opened a cream envelope from Elisa. Inside was an invitation to her baby shower and a short handwritten note. I'm sorry. You deserved better. I didn't go. Instead, I sent a donation to a women's shelter with the note in honor of a new beginning. That evening, Jade raised her glass to building our own tables. She said, I clinked mine against hers. And never begging for a seat again. The house was empty, but so was the weight I'd carried for years. For a long time, I thought silence kept peace, but silence only protects those who harm you. They tried to erase me. Instead, I rewrote myself back into the story. Justice didn't arrive with applause. It came quietly, through documents, signatures, and truth. Brooke didn't walk away to forget them. She walked away to remember herself. And in doing so, she found something stronger than forgiveness. Freedom.